It's a reality that many wealthy Christians think they don't have enough to give, while the poor Christians think they have nothing to give, resulting in a widening the gap between the rich and the poor. It seems the economy is getting better, and unemployment rate is in down curve, and people feel more comfort in giving. But that doesn't mean people like to give in church. Actually, giving toward a religious institution is declining, while the numbers of non-profits are increasing. Many younger givers have a skeptical view of the church for valid reasons. Not all younger givers use online giving, and not all older givers use the writer check. In our church, and more people are using the EFT, the electronic fund transfer. Tithing doesn't traction to the most of the Christians, even toward the long-time churchgoers or those who raised from the church. So certainly, we need to evolve the Christian giving and stewardship. So how can we become faithful steward in this context today? That's what we are going to share through the text today. According to the text today, there is a first fundraising campaign driven by a man named Aaron, the brother of Moses. It begins with the frustration of the people. If you have a Bible with you, and please open the book of the Exodus in the Old Testament. The Exodus, chapter 32. Verse 1 I read. The people saw that Moses was taking long time to come down from the mountain. They gathered around Aaron and said to him, "Come on, make us gods who can lead us. As for this man Moses who brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we don't have a clue what has happened to him." Moses went away from their camp more than a month. According to Exodus chapter 24, God made a covenant at Mountain Sinai. At that time, God called Moses and his brother Aaron and other leaders, along with the 70 elders of Israel. At that time, God gave them an instruction they should worship the Lord from a distance, except Moses. Moses was the only one who could come near to the Lord. So Moses went up to the mountain for 40 days and 40 nights. While he was gone, people thought, we don't have any clue in what had happened to him. Probably they thought Moses must be dead or run away. Anyway, he was a reluctant leader. There was no caring heart for their leaders, but just the frustrations and lack of faith. When Moses went to the mountain with other leaders and Aaron's and 70 elders, so when God instructed them, so they were there. So that means that they knew that Moses was with God, but they didn't have a faith on God. So they were out of control without faith. And Aaron felt some pressures, even threatening. So he asked them to bring their treasures. Very impressively, they brought the golden rings from their wives and their sons and their daughters. So out of their treasures, Aaron's made the golden calf. And people were excited and declared by saying, "These are your God, Israel, the one who brought you up from out of the land of Egypt." When Aaron saw how the people got excited, he got some idea. He was a very smart guy. He knew how to please the people. So he built an altar in front of the golden calf and declared and said, tomorrow will be a festival to the Lord. When people heard that, they got so excited. And they got up early in the morning and sacrificed their burnt offering and peace offering. And they fully celebrate together. But you know what? Problem is, God didn't accept their offering. No matter how many people joined in that fundraising campaign, no matter how many people participated in that worship service, no matter how much they enjoyed and celebrated together, God didn't accept that worship, their offerings. When Moses came down from the mountain with a 2-stone tablet, and he saw the golden calf and a lack of faith, Moses was in terrible anger. And she smashed the stone tablet and shattered it into pieces. A covenant with God, becoming as a children of God, has been broken by their lack of faith and golden calf. Here's a question to ponder. Where did it go wrong? What did it go wrong? Today we feel that our Christian stewardship is sinking here and there. What did it go wrong? What should we rethink stewardship? We can find a clue from another fundraising campaign driven by God and instructed by God to Moses. It's from the Exodus chapter 25, the verse 1 and 2 I read. The Lord said to Moses, tell the Israelites to collect the gift of the offering for me. Receive my gift offering from everyone who freely want to give. So they brought the gold and silver and linens and wood and all kinds of offerings. Well, actually, not much different with Aaron's fundraising. But the purpose of the offering was different. The verse 8 says, they should make me a sanctuary so I can be present among them. The purpose of the offering should be showing God's presence among the people. In Aaron's fundraising, people brought the gold and their treasures, and they built an altar, and they had a worship. But there was no God to accept that gift, but just the golden calf. So they just celebrate themselves without faith on God. So here's a question to think about. How are we doing in our stewardship? Are we showing God's presence through our giving and ministry? God wants to make a covenant with the people, so He can become our God and we become His people. That's why He wanted to build a tabernacle, His dwelling place. It's a portable sanctuary to show God's presence among the people. There, God promised by saying, there I will meet with you. So where God encountered the people, and transformation happened. The transformation of the individual and transformation of the world. That should be the reason to give our time and our talents, our treasure, and ultimately our life. That's what we give, how little or much we have. I often heard the question that when it comes to the issues of giving money, how much should we give? And when it comes to the percentage or tithe, another question comes. Should it be coming from net income or gross income? In the Old Testament, God's people were required to give 10% of their gross income to God to fund the Levite, the priest, the people who devote themselves for the maintaining the temple and teachings of the law to the people. But today's Christians are not required to tithe. Rarely talk about the tithe in the New Testament, but it's a negative terminology to talk about the Pharisee. It's not a tax for Christians. In the New Testament, Christian giving should be Christian giving focused on grace and gratitude and generosity. So when they give, they experience God's grace and God's love. So there's some transformation happen. So they gave not only 10% of their income, but everything. They shared everything in common. So they truly loved each other as God loved them. And they gave truly as God gives His one and only Son, Jesus Christ, sacrificially and consistently and abundantly. That should be the purpose of our stewardship, for the transformation of the world, transformation of the individual. But many people, including Christians, are confusing about the giving toward the church and nonprofit. I do believe giving toward a nonprofit is a good thing to do. It should be done above and beyond the regular and cheerful giving toward a local church. So mission of the church has to be continued to make disciples of Jesus Christ for the transformation of the world. About 2 weeks ago, there was something to show you. Could you show that? About 2 weeks ago, we went to, 15 of us went to the Schaumburg. And there we met other children and adults from around the area. And together, we packed 18,576 meals that they are going to feed 50 children in Honduras for entire year. And this year, so we did the crop work again. And with your help and support, we raised around $1,000 again to fight against the hunger. That's a wonderful thing to do. And about 10 people went to the community rally in Carpentersville to those people, the marginalized people, before the back to school season. So that's a wonderful thing. And many of us are doing in various ministries. And both, and Imagine No Malaria and other things. So many of us participate in the Imagine No Malaria campaign to save the children from preventable disease and treatable disease. So that will save the real life, the children's. And many of us participated in doing the ministry in various areas, both visible and invisible places, all because of God's love and grace. That's what we are doing, all this ministry together, with your support and help. I'm sure it will make some difference in someone's life by those love. Yet, we do have a stacks of works to do today. Well, sometimes we begin a ministry with a good intention and willingness, but there is a risk and resistance and misunderstanding and headache and heartache. So we drop that. But what we need to hold is not a fear, but faith on God, that God knows all those things, so we can endure. Sometimes I heard people say, I don't have time. I am too busy. Is that true? The truth is, everyone has 24 hours a day and 7 days a week. We make a time for what's important. So when God ordered your life on earth one day, what are you going to say? What are you going to show? That you spent your entire life for you? God has given us this time and talents and treasures. So we can share that with others to make a difference, to show God's presence among them. Yesterday, when I visit the kids, his granddaughter Kelly, they shared the one thing about what her grandmother did on the last week, and then she gave me the pack of the yarns and those needles. Yes, when I visited her last week, and she was doing that on the couch, and she was sitting on one side, and kids was sitting on the other side to watching TV, but she was kept doing the needle and for the prayer shawl. When I think about Naomi, she was the one who truly devoted herself for the prayer and prayer ministry. So that was not finished in here. So it's showing that what we need to do, what we need to continue to do. Not only those completing that the prayer show. In many areas of our life and ministry together. That's why we are here. To make some difference. To make disciples of Jesus Christ for the transformation of the individual. And for the world. So you can be faithful steward with all your gift and talents and treasures God has given you. So one day, when all of us stand in front of the Lord, we all can hear it, well done, my faithful steward. Let's take a moment to pray.